Hello and welcome back. This is Rob Thomas, your everything Microsoft Enterprise Cloud Architect. And today we're going to jump into Microsoft Virtual Networks. Now, before we get started, let me just go ahead and give it a shout out to our sponsors, which is the Enterprise Software Solution, the software dudes. These guys are great as you make your decision to purchase any cloud services or potential products like Office, Microsoft SQL Server, Windows Server, Copilot, Power BI, Azure, as we cover Azure and Office 365. I highly recommend these guys. They work with a lot of great clients. We work with them. These guys are great. Now, without any further ado, let's jump into this. All right. So today we're going to dive into our Microsoft Virtual Networks, or VNets. And basically, virtual networks are an essential part of your networking in Azure. I just want to kind of dig into this, really talk about VNets. And VNets is just a short word for Microsoft Virtual Networks. All right. This is a really good slide. This is showing you the whole, virtual machines, cloud services, web services, mobile services. But as you start getting into this infrastructure and you start spinning up your virtual machines, you start spinning up your databases, you're going to need the internet. And you're going to need to figure out, like, how do I get this on a network that is going to be three things: scalable, available, and isolated. And if I could have those three things, that's going to really empower me to either make this network public or private, cloud-based or on-premise. But today, it's just all focused on cloud-based, right? So what is a virtual network, right? In a virtual network, or VNet, it is a software-defined network in Azure. And this defined network in Azure basically is, it connects your cloud resources securely, right? Now, think of it like a private highway of all your application, allowing them to communicate while staying isolated from other networks that are on the internet, right? Now, you can use a VNet or a Microsoft Virtual Network in a private, public, or a hybrid cloud connections. This makes it more versatile and powerful. Now, what are the benefits of a virtual network? And basically, as I mentioned, it's the three most important things you will need for your business to be successful. First is scalability. Second is availability. And third is isolation. Now, as your business grows and your network grows with it, you're going to need to be able to scale. And now, availability. This ensures smooth connection of all your apps and services. And in isolation, this keeps your data safe by separating different network segments. Now, I do want to touch on four scenarios of four virtual networks or VNet scenarios. The first one includes connecting cloud resources to the internet for like web hosting. If you're doing like WordPress sites and stuff like that, this is critical because definitely like putting your WordPress site on Azure, highly recommended. I know it's costly, but you want to set up a virtual network as you go ahead and spin that up. So this is going to be very important. Now, a cloud-to-cloud communication between virtual machines. So as I spin up more VMs, I'll talk about virtual machines in future videos, virtual machines and apps. You want to be able to create communication into your actual private or public or a hybrid connection environment that you built. Now, on-premise connectivity. And this extends your network into Azure. Now, this really doesn't apply unless you had it on-premise, like old school, like I had on-premise infrastructure, like you start spinning up your own servers. You remember I talked about servers and you setting that up and you set up a network and it's on-premise. And now you're creating your network on Azure. So you want to connect your on-premise and your cloud computing. This is where you comes in that hybrid cloud connection, right? Where you want to get more versatility and increase more scalability capabilities because you're taking the cloud and on-premise infrastructure bringing them together. Now, the last two is traffic filtering and routing. This controls how your data moves within the network, which is important. You want to see like who's coming into your network. You want to be able to track, bad actors and stuff like that. And integrating with the Azure services like a database and storage solution. So a clear example is I spin up a WordPress site, but you're used to using like MySQL databases, but you want to use a more robust, more powerful database. You could spin up a SQL Server database, which is a lot more powerful than MySQL, the free MySQL database. And then you can connect your WordPress site to that and get that bad boy up and running and get a lot more performance out of it. So that just gives you some ideas. Now, I do want to talk about a little bit about IP ranges. Now, when you set up a VNet, you defined an address range. Azure supports, IP4 and IP6, and it follows the industry standard for a private IP address spaces. Now, here's the key. Azure reserves the first 4 and last IPs in every subnet for your independent network functions like gateway and DNS. Right. So I'll get into this in future videos. We don't have a lot of time, but just letting you know, like, you're setting up your private network, your address spaces, you're dividing into subnets and so forth. This is critical, very important step. Now, moving on to network security group ranges. And this is a little bit out of screen over here, but security is crucial for NSGs. And basically NSGs is a network security group, and this helps protect your network. NSGs uses security rules to control traffic based on source and destination, ports, and protocols, right? So you can allow or block specific connections, ensuring only the right traffic flows through your network. That's why that's where NSGs are super valuable. And then last is external communications. How do virtual networks talk to the internet? They use a public IP or a NAT gateway. Public IPs are assigned directly to your virtual machines, and then NAT gateways manage external traffics for multiple VMs at once. Now, this setup ensures that your cloud resources can communicate externally while staying secure, making sure your data in this network is secure. All right. Now, I know that was a quick breakdown. I covered some really complex, hard topics. We got into it. I hope I was able to give you a lot more insight and just really uncover, like, what are virtual networks? What does this VNet term means? Because again, they provide security, scalability, and flexibility. And those are the 3 things as a business owner you want to be thinking about. Like, as you think about your business, you want to be able to scale. And that's one of the main reasons why you go to Azure. Like, you go to Azure to host your domains, to just do more and to empower you more, which will allow you to scale and make you very agile as a business. All right, so I hope you found that this was helpful. Don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the bell icon for more computing insights. And let me know in the comments, what is your biggest challenge with cloud networking? See you in the next one. Thanks. Bye.